Welcome to Apex Esports League. I'm JT. Tonight we're on Project Cars 2 for round 3 of the Pagnian Imports RS01 trophy. Tonight's track we're heading to France for the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. That's going to be some pretty intense racing. The session tonight, we've got two races. We're heading over into a 15-minute practice. Weather is overcast. We've got 15-minute qualifying. Weather is overcast. And the sprint race is 11 laps. Weather is heavy cloud with no mandatory pit. Then we'll have about a 9-minute break and head into session 2 with 15 minutes of qualifying. Weather is heavy cloud to overcast. And the main race is 22 laps. Weather will progress from heavy cloud, overcast, light rain to light cloud. And there is a mandatory pit. And the weather is synced to the race, so it's going to be random when those events occur. After round 2, we have Philly Manili take the lead for the championship, and only just marginally is leading with 399 points. Only 3 points behind is Gallon 350 and Sami, both on 396, and even DK Rush not too far behind with 368 points. The last week we were at Zolder in the sprint race. We had Sami take a clean sweep in the first race, taking pole, victory and the fastest lap. And then in the main race, Philly, after qualifying 4th, took the victory. And we did have Gallon take the fastest lap bonus points. And of course the drivers are competing for this fantastic prize courtesy of our sponsors Pagnian Advanced Simulation and Next Level Racing. As the Next Level Racing will stand light, so it's a fantastic prize to be up for grabs. So here is the track. So in France, game session time is 9 AM. Track length is 4.27 kilometres and there's 14 turns. It is a very technical track, not too many spots to be able to pass. And as we have seen in the last 2 rounds, it is very much similar with the track limits. It is very tight and very unforgiving for exceeding those limits. We have been seeing a fair few exceeding track limit penalties being given, and those post-race time penalties being applied. If you're joining us for the stream, don't be shy, jump into the chat, say hello. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that follow button. Appreciate the growing support for Apex Esports League. We've got all our drivers back from last week. Full grid of 16 cars. There's been some very tight, consistent pace between the drivers. Seeing it from the start at Imola. And it's continued through. A little bit slippery on that second corner for someone. I'm not sure who that was. I think that may have been Dirty Monkey potentially. Skips going on for him at the moment. Did have a few incidents that caused him to actually spin out in the previous rounds, which were seeming to be the result of some lag. And there goes Gallon running rather wide out on that corner. Don't forget, we will be still having a prize up for grabs for our viewers. So the Apex Esports League stubby cooler has not been claimed yet. All you got to do, a little bit different to what we've done in the last 2 rounds. So it's not going to be who's going to be leading for the championship at the end of the round. It's who's going to win. So that means you'll be able to have a couple more entries. So you can be sure to share our post on our Facebook page. Head to the fb.com/Apex Esports League. You'll see the post that we put up saying that we're live with round 3. All you got to do is hit that share button and then put in at the top of your post who you think is going to win, so you can do that for each of the races tonight. And feel free to share it as many times as you want. That means there's more entries. When I go back through and check all those, that'll get you in for an entry for that stubby cooler. We're having a few cars spin off at the moment. T-Rex has just gone off track, the same as DG. And the track will be be slippery as game session time is starting at 9 AM. With overcast conditions, it's going to take a few laps before those tyres start to get up to temp. And we should be expecting to see some very good lap times. We did jump on the track with the guys last night while they were doing some testing. Seeing 130s and 129s being set in these same conditions. And even seeing 130, 131 race pace. And there's first times coming on the board. Marky Mark comes through 132 straight off the mark. That is pretty quick. Bugatti just gone for a spin. Depending on my race feed, that is had his lap time invalidated. See the track limits, most likely that at this point would have been at the back end of that first timed lap, as it's very easy to cut the corner on the last two corners, and it will invalidate that current lap and the next lap as well, and that's going to be very crucial for the drivers when they come down into the qualifying. Gallen, he just brought that car into the pits. Looks like he took a little bit of wall contact as well. But he did just set a 131. A very promising time for an opening lap. And a great view along that back straight. Marky Mark. We're going to see potential incidents occurring around that section if the rain actually lasts out quite a while. That back straight does start to pull up. It's quite a large puddle, as well as around the pit entrance corner on the left hand turn. We'll jump on board with someone in a moment. Over to Mick Cliff. Have a disconnect just before. It's been a few internet issues. Hopefully it'll last out. If we do see him disconnect, not able to get back on, that would be why. Mick is currently coming 7th in the championship. He's running with 201 points. Just ahead of him is Demon FX with 204. Bugatti and Dirty Monkey, as well as Marky Mark not too far behind him. Bugatti sitting on 198 points, Dirty Monkey 165, and Marky Mark 161. You can see just that last section of track just how tricky it is. There's a few lag skips going on with Kaka's car. Some really good lap times being put down pretty early on in the session. The slowest currently at 1:38. That's still a very good time. 6.6 seconds separating the 10 cars that have put a time on the board. DK and Gallen in with the 131s, and also Mick Cliff setting a 131. We're also in the 133 bracket. There's Vera and Philly Manilli. The Vazmac cars. Slippery for Bugatti, tad bit of oversteer and corner exit, but he saved that car. Fair bit of tail slide coming out as he's going down around that corner. Once drivers were finding even the tiniest tweaks to the rear wing really affects the stability of the car around this track. Taken quite a bit to try and get the fine tuning for the cars. I'm sure the guys would be more than willing to be sharing setups at the moment. I know there's plenty going on beforehand. Bugatti just runs off. Simo comes around. Bad Nate, Demon Effects and DG yet to get a time on the board. The Demon just comes through for 1:31.5, that is pretty quick. Mick leading the way with a 1:31.329, only 0.050 difference between him and DK's time. That's very tight and very consistent between the two. There's 6 minutes remaining of practice before they head over into qualifying. And there are points up for grabs for qualifying position. Drivers will be battling it out to score 25 championship points for securing a pole position. Huge pace from Mick. Driving his finger on the controller, the same as Dirty Monkey. Hopefully he'll stay out on track. We'll jump on board for a lap with him. Oh, he's just ran wide. He's probably just jinxed him, so he's going to bring the car in. That's unfortunate. Hopefully we see someone else coming up for a lap. Common scenario when we jump on board for a lap, they'll either go for a spin or they decide to park the car up. Now he's running a nice light load of fuel, which should be enough to get another lap in. Demon Effects has just snuck in with the quickest time, 1:31.040. Now we're seeing a bit of a gap. There's 0.289 difference between him and Mick's time. Going a little bit slippery. I think that may have been a bit of latency that was actually causing the difference. I think Alan is closest. Yes, he's about to do a full lap, so on board with him. Cause any bad luck like we did for Mick. And he did just steal the quickest lap. That was a 1:30. So down long pitch straight. Very fast turn one. Heavy on the anchors down into turn two, down the second gear. Very cautious here. Those curbs are very slippery, especially with that light fuel. And he will be stung with a slowdown if you actually cut those curbs. And a lot of drift going on. Very slippery with a light load. Reasonably fast corner. A lot of throttle control just to feather it through and then power out of the exit now. And this is one where we've seen most of them going for a spin. Double apex. You can get the boot down pretty early coming onto that second apex. This is the section where the rain will actually start to pull that little divot we just went down. And you can actually go fairly sharp over this curb. You can hit the green bits. And we are seeing a few lag spikes going on with going. And the second gear, it's got this. That curb is a very dangerous section here, and the wet also will be very slippery. You hear a little bit of tyre spin. Gallon is running traction control as well. He's playing it cautiously. This will probably invalidate his time, as he did go relatively wide just then. That will actually invalidate the time, and it did come up on the feed that it's invalidated that, and it'll invalidate the next lap. And it's very easily done. So it'll sting you for going out wide on the outside of the corner. However, that final turn into with that right hand corner, you can actually take a lot of curb and you won't be stung. That's where a lot of drivers are getting caught out. with getting out wide there is you try and stay out as wide as possible and then turn in as late as you can to try and get that good run onto it. You can carry a lot of speed down on the pit straight, but you only have to be that tiny smidgen over to the left and then you will be stung with that invalidation. At a 1:30.557 by Gallon, very quick. Sami sneaks in with a 1:30 as well. That's a 1:35.79. He's only 0.022 away from Gallon's time. Sami wasn't quite impressed with how his car was handling. We're doing some practice session last night. He seems to be having the car down pat at the moment. A very quick lap time. Just look at the difference on the board. There's only 5.1 seconds separating 16 cars. And 1:35 is still a very quick time. A lot of drivers still using the traction control. There's only 4 seconds left. This will be final laps for the practice session. Getting a nice drift through the kitty litter down onto the final corners, having a bit of fun with the car for the end of the session. Well done, Bugatti. Some practice for tomorrow night's race, as we are broadcasting an extra race this week. We're going to have 3 races tomorrow night, 3 different tracks, all in the Camaro 69 Trans Am. And there are no rules, so they can cheat as much as they like. The clean racing that we usually pride ourselves for will be all thrown out the window while these guys absolutely smash each other up on the track. So be sure to hit that follow button if you haven't done so you can be notified when we go live. So we'll be back here on Twitch at 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time again. It'll be great just seeing what these guys get up to with punting each other off the track. Time of 1:35.518, a very nice line through those last 2 corners. Will this improve his time? Not an improvement, but still a good lap from the looks of it. We have Gallon 350 taking the quickest time in practice, a 1:35.57. There's not much difference between him and Sami, a 1:35.79. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go in the qualifying now. Drivers now got 15 minutes to get their qualifying time for race 1. Blarkey just slips that car out of the stalls. Look at all those cars scrambling out on track. It's lucky the cars ghost in pit lane with how they're going here. They won't be ghosted now once they cross the green cones. Join us for the streams, and if you're not aware, we do have sound effects controls underneath. You can then cheer and applaud or boo or whatever you would like. There's a whole bunch of fun sound effects to play over the stream. To have some fun with that. Of course, our social media links at the bottom of the screen. Facebook page is where you can keep up to date for all results, standings, of our races and any incident reports after our races once we've gone through and done the post-race stewarding. If there's any accidents you see here tonight, you can find out the details after we check the replays. And there's our YouTube, which is bit.ly/ApexESL. Our shortened link to our YouTube channel. All our past broadcasts get saved there. We've been doing over a year of broadcasting, so there is plenty of series you can go back through and watch. You can see many of these drivers battle it out in other cars, many of our variety of championships that we've held. Manili, our championship leader, making a fantastic win in the main race last week. I think it was the first victory with Apex eSports League, or we did just get a disconnect. I'm not sure who that is. That's Dirty Monkeys had a disconnect. Hopefully he can get back into the session in time. Let us know in the chat who your predictions are as well. If you have shared that post and picked a driver who you think is going to win the race, let us know who you've picked in the chat. That'd be good to see just who you're thinking will get it. Dallin and Sami having very promising laps in the practice. Need to share that post before the commencement of the race and just put in your post if you're picking Philly Manilli for the win. You would put Philly Manilli for the win, and as you share that post, and then that will get you that entry. And if you happen to be the only one to actually pick that and you share it, then that means you've definitely scored yourself the prize. Get a fair few picking the same one. You get an entry and randomly through for that. We did have Ezanoble in the chat last week. He shared that and he picked Gallant and only just missed out by 3 points. Quickest time so far, 1:32.051. Has snuck in a 1:31.646 for his first time lap. He's not mucking around here. Oh, look at Wira. Blitzed in a 1:30.061, almost breaking the 1:29 mark, and that's his opening lap. Weather conditions are still overcast. Game session time has progressed to 10 AM. There's not going to be a whole lot of increase to track temperature. Hopefully Dirty Monkey can get back into the session. As long as he gets in within the last couple of minutes of qualifying, he'll still be able to make the start of the race. Maybe a little too early to try and call just who would be setting a pole time. I think a 1:30.061 is going to be pretty tough to beat. Going to take a real golden lap to squeeze that in. This Demon Effects is a whole half a second away from Wira's time. We have noticed from Wira Usually in the practice session, he'll sort of sit back and not put down too many big times. And then comes in and blows us away in qualifying. Also in the 130 mark, 130.880. Sami with a 131.120. Gallons snuck in for 130 as well. Some very quick times. Tiny little point will be counting here at the moment for our championship leaders. That is Gallon, Sami and Philly. Oh, we've got a little bit of a lag spike. That means someone's joining the session. I think Dirty Monkey, yeah, Dirty Monkey is back in. That's good, he's got 7.5 minutes to get out there and get a time on the board. Hopefully he doesn't get disconnected again. It's been quite unfortunate. And Bad Nate. 7 seconds separating the field currently. Ilman Cliff gets up along inside of Bad Nate. Saw Mick hit him with 131 in the practice session. Need to do the same again. Same move up a few spots. 130s seem to be the time for the qualifying session. Barney the first in the 131s. Doesn't have to shave much off to get a 130. Locks it up right on that curb. Beautiful. Cuts that last corner. That's a very nice line through the end of sector 3. Does improve that lap. He moves up into 130.874, bumping DK Rush down. Marky Mark hitting a 131.3. There's a bit of difference between Billy Manilli, his two closest competitors for the lead of the championship currently. Philly's only leading ahead of Gallon and Sami by 3 points. Gallon maintains second position for qualifying. That's going to see him score 23 points. So the points will drop down by 2s. That'll be enough to take back that lead prior to heading into race 1 tonight. T-Rex coming through with a 132 almost flat. T-Rex is coming fourth in the championship. He's got 284 points, so he's not too far behind the championship leaders. Good strong result in the main race, definitely getting quite up close, and then especially if that's followed on after a good result in the first race. Kakadu currently coming 14th in the championship. He's got 91 points. He didn't make it to the round last week. Unable to join in, and then having a reserve driver, DG, getting in as reserve. You will notice that we are missing Blakai Warrior. He's unable to make tonight's round. And they had a spot to open up, which DG got in for that. did have a handful of drivers all keen to get in last week for the reserves and then narrowly missing out. We are contemplating looking at potentially running a second division. Do stay tuned. If we do that, it may not be broadcast. It'll probably run simultaneous to the streamed race. To miss those aspects for those drivers being in the stream broadcast and then stewarded afterwards. Once the guys can get out there and still have a drive in our events. There's only 3 minutes remaining of qualifying. Where it still holds the pole setting time. Last lap must have gone into the pits. It's a 3:32. As quickest is a 1:30.061. May have been an out lap, and then it's trying to get some temp into those tyres. Dirty Monkey's got a time on the board. Very nice line. Not noticing any lag skips there. Hopefully that is connection issues have been resolved. He improved his time, has come through into 13th position. I think that was Philly just coming out of pit lane. It's Philly's car. Only 4.8 seconds separating 16 cars. If they all keep a very clean race and that consistent speed throughout the sprint race, it's not going to be much of a gap for our finish. That would only be 44 seconds roughly. Sorry, maybe 50 seconds, you could say. Difference over the course of 11 laps. We wouldn't be seeing any lapping if it was clean and all kept at that consistent pace. It just shows you the calibre of our drivers. They are all spectacularly skilled at driving these cars, and all the cars that we've seen them driving in all our series. Seen any movement in time from Gallon, just sitting at 1:32.40. Demon Effects also still at half a second away from Wirra's time. Sami in with 1:30.8. There's movement there. Gallon's just been bumped down. Demon Effects has flown in at 1:31.76. That's very quick. There's only 3 seconds left for qualifying. This will be final laps. Demon's on fire here. Can he steal away pole position while he's getting a good run? No, that's just cost him. Did save the car, but he did just give up on it. We have Gallon through the last sector. Very nice line through the end. Will this get him a pole position? Oh, he reclaims his position too, though. Gets in ahead of Demon Effects. Demon has concluded for the qualifying. He's not going to be able to better it. Whereas looking pretty good for pole time. Can he even beat his own pole setting? No, I don't think that's probably done well. That's cost him. It's not probably needed though. However, that lap was a 1:30.581, so it's still within the top 3 times. I think he possibly could have actually beaten his own pole time if he had not had that little slip coming through the end of sector 3. DK gets a nice run. A little bit wide on that final turn. Does he improve the time? He moves up a spot. Then we have qualifying results for race 1 of round 3 at Le Mans Bugatti circuit, where Dejuri 81 taking pole position, setting a 1:30.061. Not far behind is Gallen 350 setting a 1:30.097. That is very close. Then the rest of the grid we have Demon Effects, DK, Sami, Philly Manili, Marky Mark, Midcliff, T-Rex, Kakadu, Skitty, DG, Dirty Monkey, Bad Nate, Simo Simsel, and Blarkey. And there's only 4.8 seconds separating our entire grid, so that's phenomenal pace that we are seeing from our drivers. And over onto the starting grid, ready to start off race 1 for round 3. We are having pole position, and it is a prime starting location, going to be on the racing line. Not always the case that pole is always in a beneficial position to get off into turn 1. So if Gallen gets a good jump on him, they could be looking to fight for space. Gallen's going to have to get well and truly ahead, because he's going to be carrying a lot of that speed down through turn 1. That means he's going to have to move over to that left-hand side of the track. Otherwise, he's going to have to shave a bit more speed off. We're not running traction control. Gallen is. Not sure if that may potentially mean Wero will have a little bit of wheel spin at the start, unless he's got that really down pat. Anyway, game syncing the drums are all ready to go for the commencement. Lights are about to drop green, and we're away. That's a very good start. A little bit of wheel spin from Wero, but Gallen's getting up alongside. Wero's done very well considering that little bit of wheel spin. However, they're going neck and neck up into turn 1. Wero's going to have to try and dominate that position as he comes down to turn 2. And tuck in. You see some heavy braking coming down through turn 3 for all the cars as those front headlights come on. That is when they are under braking. It's pretty neat, we can see them under braking from the front end of the car. Looks like a pretty good clean start to the race. It's only 5 seconds separating the full grid. Look at we have Gallen and Demon battling it out as they come down onto the back straight. They were side by side. Looked like Demon was going to go for an inside wide, but Gallen actually got away much quicker. But he's really hunting down Wero. He's sitting in on that slipstream. Gallen seemed to carry a fair good amount of straight line speed. And drivers all. Well, we just had Kakadu just go a little bit wide. He's now side by side with Philly. There's a few lag skips as well, and I think there may have been a little bit of contact between the two. That was due to lag actually moving track positions. Still leading at lap 1. Or Gallen goes to dart for an outside move coming on to turn 1. That's potentially going to spell disaster, as he wouldn't have had a good position to go into turn 2. Demon Effects catching back up as well. We can see Sami climbing up the rungs. He's looking to get around DK Rush. They're carrying very similar pace. DK setting a 1:39.5 for the first lap, Sami 1:39.9. Philly starting to close in between Kakadu. He's currently sandwiched between the two. Any early braking from Sami could have spelled disaster for the three. Philly goes to position along inside. DK and Sami's been given a post-race time penalty. They've exceeded track limits. They would have probably been cutting at turn 2 and 3. Our race leaders still duking it out the front. We're managing to hold off Gallen. We're setting a 1:38 flat for the opening lap. That is a very quick lap. It's a good 0.282 quicker than Gallen. And he's pushed out that lead to 0.745 currently. And climbing. Gallen now probably going to have to be dealing with Demon breathing down the back of his neck. That could be very beneficial to Wirra to try and put a little bit more gap over him and Gallen. Philly's spaced out a little bit from Sami now. T-Rex. Oh, there's contact. I'm not sure who that is. I think that may have been Skitty. If that was Skitty or Dirty Monkey. That was a pretty big spin. Looks like some pretty heavy contact. Well, there's been a bit of an incident up there. I think it's Marky Marks just ran off track. Not sure if there may have been a squeeze out. Cliff and Simo Simsel are duking it out for position 8. Mick looked to position himself inside. Did force an error from Simo Simsel, but he comes back on track just side by side. Mick is sitting hot tight on his tail now. He's going to want to take a much quicker line here, but he's going to have to shave off speed to take that corner. Simo backs off that throttle. He's going to get him here ready for the final last few turns. Spectacular passing there by Mickliffe. We did just have Wirra make a mistake in that back end of sector 3. That's allowed Gallen to move up through. Team in Effects now has DK Rush looking to get around him. Have Sami still bringing it up. There's 2 second time penalty given to DK Rush and 1 second to Sami. How close these guys are staying. We're nearing the halfway point for the race. That could definitely cost positions. We have seen race victories taken away because of those time second penalties. Let us know if you did actually share off that post and picked Gallen for the win. He's doing pretty well at this stage, but we're still not out of it. I believe that minor mistake cost him that position. Still got the quicker pace. That last lap of Gallen's was a 1:31.7. We're at 1:33.5. Nice line by Wirra. Saints relatively wide coming through that last corner, not really pushing the limits. It's half a second slower than Gallen's time just set. But he has brought that gap in. Lap 5 of 11. Dirty Monkey starting to close in on Marky Mark, is also starting to close that gap on T-Rex. That's after they did have that wide runoff just only a couple of laps ago. A few steering corrections. Mark just only fits in as T-Rex turns through. Skitty's in trouble. He has T-Rex sitting hot tight. T-Mark positioning himself alongside of T-Rex. They're going to have to come down into a right-hand turn. Takes it back. Oh, there's contact, but that was a lag skip. That bounced that car across. T-Rex now making a move on Skiddy, slingshotting out. He's going to have the inside line, but he's not going to be in a good spot to take the corner. He's going to have way too much speed. A little bit of a squeeze out, but that's a lot of lag going on between these guys. Battling it out pretty good. And over to our race leaders. We're bringing those lap times down. Oh no, it looks like some... I'm not sure if he's ran off or if that's some lag that may be going on. He has dropped off. I think it may be connection issues going on for Wira. I haven't seen suffer disconnects before. There's a normal, thanks for joining us. Gallon and Wira. Sorry, no, it's Demon and Wira. Wira losing another position. He is dropping off a lot of speed. Not sure what's going on for Wira currently. Ooh, Demon affects it, spun out. Doesn't make wall contact. Ranches the track back in position 6. Can allow a bit more time for Kakadu to close in on him. Barney honing down on Wira. Last lap set, quickest was Wira for 1:31.245, but we did see him cut the corner and actually run off in shape, drop back off on the throttle a little bit as well. So not sure what's going on. That was a 1:34 then. This is where we saw all the weird issues going on for Wira. Then after that, lost a lot of speed. Race leader currently is Gallon 350. He's leading by 3.5 seconds. Don't forget, if you're joining us, do jump into the chat, say hello. Give a shout out to you if you want to jump in and say hello. There are those sound effects controls underneath that you can play. It doesn't cost you any bits to use them. There are some in there that do, but all the main ones are all free to use, so have some fun with that. Don't forget to hit that follow button as well. Army still looking to close in on Wira. Still managing to keep him at bay. So we appreciate for any of our new viewers to hit that follow button. I think we're at 146 followers currently. It'd be great if we can see that get up to the 150 mark tonight. That way you will be notified when we go live tomorrow with our special event. We don't normally broadcast on Friday nights, we don't race at all on Friday nights. Kakadu battling it out with Philly. We have been fundraising for Beyond Blue with our iRacing series moment. It's with the Beyond Blue Formula V Championship. We have put some goals and rewards for meeting our certain targets. We wanted to reach $350 mark raise, and that was when we would host the No Rules race. So we achieved that on Monday night, raising $385. We get to have our No Rules race tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. Really forward to seeing the carnage unfold. one night round. He's free, going for it. Sami moves up in around Wirra. He had a bit of back market traffic. Team Effects and BK back in 4th and 5th. A few red numbers up on the position board. There that we had Sami that he had to try and correct. Yeah, it's nice. Good. Nick made the race still. Did get a disconnect in the lobby beforehand, but so did 3 other drivers at the same time. Apparently a fair few drivers mentioned there'd been a few connection issues with trying to log into PlayStation Network. There may have just been a few further issues going on. It's good Mick was able to make it. Hopefully we see him on track tomorrow as well. Honing down on Wirra. We're on lap 9 of 11, only 2 to go. On board with Sami, you can see him focusing on Wirra's car. 1.5 seconds slower than his best time that he's done in the race so far. That's a 1:33.1 still. Probably the average time we were seeing in qualifying, so still getting that at race pace is phenomenal. We're a lot quicker through that first part of Sector 1. Let's see, a little bit of slip on that tail end for Wirra. Still getting away. Sami not running traction control. I think Wirra saw him not running it as well. Our race leader, he's running traction control. Not sure if he's kept that on. He may have just had it on for the start. To drive these, and most cars usually like to throw the traction control up to a high setting before the race start, and then flick it down to low or off until you've gotten off from the line. So you can really control that wheel spin at the start. Wirra did run the start with no traction control, got away just as quick as Gallen. Sami's still keeping that same gap. Let's run the final lap now. We've seen Wirra pull away at the same spots, much quicker through that sector compared to Sami. He really had to get on the anchors there. He's going to have a lot of understeer coming down to it. Kakadu showing a little bit of lag. Cliff starting to close in. Got a minute 51 separating all cars at the moment. Bad Nate. Clean laps currently, so he's on lap 10, or he's having an issue with the car at the moment. I think. Where is he? As you can see, that must be turn 3, I think. Dropping back away from Wirra, where he's only got to keep him at bay for the remainder of the lap. For those of you that are sharing the post to get your entries in for the Apex eSports League Stubby Cooler, if you've picked Gallen, then you've got yourself an entry, and if you're the only one to have done it, then out of picking the winners tonight, then it'll be definitely yours. Well done. Wirra on P2, on the podium as well. Here's Sami in position 3. Team Effects brings it up in position 4. They did have time second penalties, but they both were wearing them, so it didn't affect them. DK takes 5th, Philly in 6th, Kaka takes 7th, Midcliffe in 8th position, T-Rex bringing it up in 9th position, crosses the line, well done. Mikey Knife not too far behind as well in position 10. 39 seconds to get the last laps done. We should see a few more cars cross the line before race 1 concludes. 30 in 11th position. Larky and DG. And his father and son out there as well. Larky gets ahead of his dad. No, DG takes it from way of time second penalties. There we have race 1 conclusion for round 3. Gallon 350 taking victory. Also on the podium is Wira in position 2, Sami in position 3, and the rest of the field is Demon Effects, DK Rush, Philly Manili, Kakadu, Midcliffe, T-Rex, Marky Mark, Dirty Monkey, DG 0787, Skitty, Balaki, Simo Simzel, and Bad Nate. And I will try and find who got the fastest lap, because you probably can see it all on the screen there, but I will have to scroll back up. So it's a 1:31.245, I believe. Yes, a 1:31.245. So we're taking an extra 10 bonus points. So there we have race 1 done for round 3. We do have 2 race sessions, so we're heading into about a 9-minute break as the drivers refresh themselves. Head into 15 minutes of qualifying. Then we have the main race, which is 23 laps, and it's going to be exciting seeing some rain come on for the race as well. So do stay tuned. We will be back shortly with some more great action from our drivers. and welcome back for session 2 of round 3 for the Pagnian Imports RS01 trophy. We did just see Gallon 350 take victory in race 1, and he was only trailing by 3 points in the championship. That was with Philly Manili taking the lead, and he didn't qualify as strong. Gallon getting through in with a good result after qualifying second is very helpful for him to try and get ahead on the championship lead. However, heading into the main race, that's where the big points are at. There's another 25 points up for grabs for pole position. And then there's also 120 points for a victory. Gallon just scoring 60 points for the victory in race 1. Just talking to the guys as we were wondering what was going on with Wirral. We saw him really back off on some speed. We saw him have to run through and miss a couple of corners cutting the track. We weren't sure what was going on, whether it was some lag issues or if he was shaving off some cut corners and penalties. But he did actually have his sim disconnect, so he did actually lose all pedal control. And then when that did happen, Gallon and Wirral was actually pretty close. And they did actually make contact as that happened. Wirral managed to still be able to steer the car around and get his pedals all back up and running during the race. He still had a good result in the end, still getting on that podium. Oh, just had someone disconnect. Kakadu. He may have actually hit the exit button. It's not a disconnect, it's a left. May have actually done a hang though. Hopefully he jumps back in. We had Philly already exceeding track limits the same as Mark. Had to bring the car in, so he's probably made some contact. Lee and DK both sitting in pretty tight. Larky's just moved over the side of the track. Don't forget to make yourself known in the chat, say hello. Still have the opportunity to get yourselves some entries for, here we go, he's back in. Kakadu's rejoined the session, that's good. Probably had to quit out and hit back in. Sometimes you can get a few connection issues where the game actually won't connect up properly. And sometimes even the steering wheel setups may not be registering. You actually have to sometimes exit out or even close the game and head back in. So some very consistent pace in session 1 qualifying. Only had less than 5 seconds separating the full 16 cars. And if you want to score yourselves the Apex eSports League stubby cooler, you can start getting in some more entries for race 2. So you'll need to head to our Facebook page, so it's linked down below, fb.com/Apex Esports League. You'll see the post I put up at 7:30 saying we're live with round 3. Just share that post as you're sharing it. Write in your post who you think's going to get the win. If you are correct, that gets you in with the entry for that stubby cooler. We had Gallon 350 take the win in the first one, so if you have already done an entry for that, that will have you in the running already. If you're the only one to get it correct, then that will be a winning entry for sure. Philly straight up with 1:31.773. To share that pace for those entries before the race starts. Bad Nate setting up 1:34.5. Weather conditions for the qualifying. Heavy cloud cover, progress to overcast. Game session time starts at 1 PM. Time progression is doubled. That'll simulate 30 minutes of time. So it's early afternoon temperatures. And those skies are getting heavier with cloud. 1:30.710 set by DK Rush. And 4 cars to get a time on the board. Saw a very quick 1:30 set for pole time by Wira in the first qualifying session. Just only joined us. There are a bunch of sound effects and controls under the stream. You can play all the sound effects that will be played over the stream. Have some fun with that. Don't forget to hit that follow button. It'd be great if we can see us reach our next milestone of 150 followers. We've only got a few to go. Mr. Hopwood just followed earlier as well. Thank you very much for that. So currently at 147 followers. It's only 3 more until we get that new milestone. It'll be very exciting. Gallen just came in with a 1:36.01 to take pole, but we're doing the same as last session. Flies through with a 1:35.70. Was those two drivers doing much the same in the first session, and they are keeping that very similar pace between the two in the race. Should Wira not have had that issue with his pedals actually dropping out and not working, it would have been a win for sure. Wira's brought the car into the pits. But currently for the championship, the lead would have been taken over from Philly Manili. As Philly was only leading by 3 points, with Gallen's good result qualifying in session 1 and then the victory. Well, Gallen's just come in with 1:30.013. That is blisteringly quick. They're not mucking around. Oh, he gets out wide. Taps that curb as he comes into turn 2. I don't think he took damage, or he must have just brought that car in. There's still 6 minutes out there. I don't think his time is cemented in as pole yet. These guys are really pushing these cars. We've got 4 cars in the 1:30. Another 3 cars in the 1:31s. Philly bringing it in as the first drive, 1:31.257. Followed by Demon Effects and Mick Cliff. We've got another 4 drivers in the 1:32s. Marky Mark, Kakadu, DG, T-Rex. Going apologise, T-Rex, getting your name wrong there. It's been a while since I've done that. DG in the 132s. Dirty Monkey with a 133.5. It's 8.8 seconds separating the grid currently. That was down to about 4.8 seconds. As the normals shared with Gallon for the win. Cheer for Mick Cliff, and Mick was just mentioning that he's picking up a steering wheel, and I believe he's getting that off you as a normal. That's going to be fantastic. He's very excited. Really make very well for Mick if he can come in with a championship win. Get the next level racing wheel stand light being provided to our series sponsors, Pagnian Advanced Simulation. That's pagnianimports.com.au. Grab a great range of sim racing gear. That's where I have bought all my stuff from. I'm running full next level racing cockpit as well. You can find all those at Pagnian Imports. They're always more than helpful to provide great customer service and questions. I've bombarded them with plenty of Facebook messages and emails and the likes, asking questions before I make any of my purchases. So when you're going to be dropping some cash on the stuff, you want to make sure it's going to suit what you're looking for, and they've been more than helpful. Mick will probably feel a little bit out of sorts once he's on the wheel as a normal. It might take a few to get used to it. He's been a weapon on controller for so long. That'll be good. He's really looking forward to it. I think he's going to definitely start carving up even more so. As Mick has mentioned, that the downside to the controller is he's not able to really battle it out door to door, just because of the responsiveness with using the stick on the controller. It's not as stable, where he can, when he has a bit of space, he can actually race that. However, once he's got the steering wheel, that's going to definitely change things. We're going to be able to see him actually become a lot more competitive. Once he's door to door, he's not going to have to give as much space. So it's going to be very interesting. You see the overcast conditions have come over. Came over in the sort of back end. I'm going to jump on board with Gallon for a lap. Laying down some very quick laps. He's out wide, ready to turn into turn one. A little bit of slip. This is where he saw him spin because he got out getting around traffic. To turn 2 and 3, very cautious on that curb not to cut, plus it's very slippery. Move over for turn 4. A little bit of lag going on with Gallon. They're bringing the throttle in. He's not running traction control. We saw him running traction control in the first session. Wouldn't be real happy with that exit. It was a little bit too early of a turn in. And on the throttle, power out down to the back straight. This is where it's going to get interesting once the rain comes in for the main race. Get some sector data here. He must have had his lap time invalidated, so it's not going to count. We didn't get any sector data. Very technical back section of sector 3. Nice and wide there, not too far. You can really cut that curb. Nicely done, a little bit of oversteer and corner exit. We did get a sector data time then. That's 0.307 off the pole time. So even that time is still quicker than Wira's quickest time. I think it was a 1:30.1 that Wira set in the first session. Similar cars up towards that front end again. We're seeing some consistency here of the drivers. We've got 4.7 seconds separating the cars now. There's qualifying complete. They're up to last laps. Oh, Demon, I think we're on board for Demon at the end on the final lap of qualifying last session, and a similar happened. Oh, and a slide for DK as well. Track temperature's probably cooling off a fair bit as those overcast conditions set in, and the car's getting very light on fuel. It's now or never to steal away a pole. A few slides from DG. DG, Bugatti and Gallen only ones out on track. A 1:30.013 is going to be very hard to beat. There's a few lag spikes going on. Bugatti should have enough time to get in this lap. Making it particularly cautious. Gallen's probably trying to do some burnouts for us. There's plenty of space there at the last corners for Le Mans. Very nice show for all our viewers. Always a courtesy burnout before the races from Gallen. Camera's gone all haywire. Just 10 seconds remaining. I think it's enough time for Bugatti to get across the line to wrap up this final lap. Going to come in and probably give Gallen a nudge. He's going to practice heading into the pits. It's a good idea to gauge where those markers are, as it is a mandatory pit requirement for the main race. And they're going to have to swap out 2 wet tyres as it is. The Gallen 350 takes pole position. It's a little bit of a swap around with Wira taking pole in the first session and Gallen taking second. And we now have Wira in position 2, followed by Demon Effects, DK, Sami, Philly, Mickliffe, Marky Mark, T-Rex, Kakadu, DG, Dirty, Skitty, Bad Nate, Blarkey, and Simo Simsel. I cannot recall if I did screenshot the results just before then, so I better do it again just in case, otherwise I'll be missing out on getting it all ready for the results tomorrow. So over into the race now. Drivers got a couple of minutes to get their cars set up for the race and ensuring they have a pit strategy set, and they're probably going to be hopefully been running a couple of different scenarios. The track doesn't tend to dry up a whole lot with the wet conditions. However, with 16 cars, if they're all sticking to the line, it should actually start to at least dry up the racing line. And the settings for the game, the weather is synced to race. And there's 4 weather categories. And it will progress from heavy cloud, overcast, light rain to light cloud. And it's not evenly divided up amongst the race. That could mean that the game progresses through the first 2 weather slots rather quickly and could bring on the rain very early. And then that could last out for most of the race before changing over to the final slot with light cloud cover. Or it could even be divided up evenly by the 4, or we may even just get a small amount of range, only a few minutes worth. With the game progression set to ×2, the longer it rains, the more pooling we're going to see. That's going to fill up twice as quick. We saw both Gallen and Wira get a great start in race 1. Can they do the same? Very heavy loads of fuel. Gallen not running traction control this time around. He did last race. We have to get countdown. The lights going green. And we're away. Gallen gets a pretty good start. There's a little bit of wheel spin. Wira gets away a lot quicker, so he's now just nudged up ahead of him. He's going to have to try and squeeze Gallen out just a little bit to try and carry that speed. Oh, there's been a big spin at the back. That's Dirty Monkey and Marky Mark. He's lost the tail there. There's Carnage going through turn 2 as well. I think that may have actually just been a braking marker. Gallen and Wira doing a battle out the front. Oh, Gallen spins, so does Wira, taking contact in the Deem. That's a huge hit. That's going to be costly to Gallen. That was a side hit, so it's probably not done too much damage to the car. That was a pretty heavy hit to Demon's car. He took the full brunt to the front of that car. He's definitely going to have some aero damage to the front. He's going to lose a fair bit of stability on that front end now that that's been damaged. It's rather unavoidable. Had a synchronised slip by Wira and Gallen. There's nowhere for those cars to go. We have DK Rush, just cuts that curb very sharp. Not sure if that's would be a slowdown. Sami getting quite aggressive, looking for a move, get around DK early on in lap 1. Looking to make his move nice and early so we can try and push out that gap. Both drivers have got a lot of pace, so if they're going to get in front of them, they're going to have to do it. I think DK may have actually just been giving a slowdown then. He backed off quite a fair bit. Kakadu's up in 3rd position. We're only dropped back down to 4th position. That slide, very lucky as with having Gallen slide out at that same time, it kind of came a shield for him. Otherwise, if Gallen had got through and not slipped, it probably would have been Demon making contact with Wira. Sami's been given a slowdown. Kakadu's putting up some pretty big pace as well. I think Sami may have actually tried to shave off that penalty issued to him as well, as he did sort of back off. Kakadu moves up into position 2. A nice move gotten around DK. DK's also got a time second penalty applied. Kakadu was just about to run off track, but that was actually a bit of lag. DK positions along the inside from Wira. Wira was looking to get around. Wira's last lap at 1:42. And that was with the slide. DK sitting at 1:40, so not losing too much time from sliding out on that corner. Sami, our race leader, flying ahead at the moment. It's lap 3, he's leading by 1.7 seconds. Demon Effects did bring that car in, so the damage mustn't have been too bad. It's starting to close in on T-Rex. DJ's a little way behind him. Malarkey looking to get up and around him. Contemplated an outside manoeuvre on turn 3. A lot of speed, DJ, and a little bit slower down through turn 4. Marky gets ahead. Marky Mark has had that car fixed. I think it was also Dirty Monkey that was involved in it. starting to close in on Simo. Gallon, after taking that spin, is in eighth. Oh, it's a little bit of a slip from Simo. He's just lost a position. That's where it went all wrong for Gallon and Demon Effects. DK and Kakadu side by side. There's some closing in between T-Rex, Demon and Wira as well. Wira really honing down in on Demon Effects. He's potentially going to have a slingshot go, but it looks like Demon may have actually gotten away a lot quicker than what Wira has. We're getting the car up to 259 kilometers before heading on the anchors. Bomber cam with Wira. Oh, we did just see, I'm not sure if that was on the stream as well. You did actually just see a frozen car that was ghosted and driven through by Wira. We have seen drivers react on there's a disconnect. I think that was Kakadu. Seeing that ghost image of his car was definitely a sign of a disconnect. That means DK's now moved up into position 2 again. Sami leading the race by 3.5 seconds. He's got a 1 second time penalty that be applied post-race, the same as DK. Balaki also receiving one. If you're unaware how this game works, on the standings board, the red number means the driver has received a time second penalty. Kakadu's disconnect. T-Rex is in 3rd position. He's going to have to really fight to hold it off. We have Wira and Demon Effects quickly closing in. Wira seems to really not be getting away as quick coming through the final corner. Oh, but he's getting a run on there. He did position for an inside move. Get away, Demon Effects starting to close in more on T-Rex. Not enough though. T-Rex getting away a lot quicker through that back end of Sector 1. Demon just slightly slower through that sector compared to both T-Rex and Wira, as Wira seems to really cover that ground back up through that sector. It's not until Wira gets onto the final back end of Sector 3 where he loses that speed. We did notice that he doesn't really cut that curve on the final corner as much as the other drivers, not allowing as much speed to be carried through. That could be what's getting Demon Effects and T-Rex to really pull away coming onto the start of pit straight. We have Skitty and Gallon sitting pretty close to each other. Gallon recovering back up into position 7. Closest competitors for the championship lead is Philly Manili and Sami. Philly currently sitting in 11th position. Sami leading the race. It's lap 6 of 22. Strong finish from Sami here could potentially see us have another very close situation between our top few drivers. See a championship lead only held by 3 points, and then position 2 and 3 equally tied. That is very tight. So just past a quarter of the way through. It's now very overcast conditions. Like it's been like that for the last couple of laps, so overcast has come on relatively early. three still trying to battle it out. They evenly pace. You can see the differences in their lap times, 133.1, 133.0, 133.4. There's not much between them. You still see the same thing. T-Rex really pulls away on the straight. Demon Effects not as much as T-Rex. We're really backing off us until the back end of the straight, where he gets the two-car slipstream advantage, and he really starts to close that gap in. Then Wira really closes that gap in here. T-Rex usually pulls away as well, but he's lacking just a little bit. Slip from T-Rex. So now we'll bring on the rain. It's going to definitely make things interesting. And our track positions we're seeing could very much be different once it comes to the rain. Not all drivers are as confident in the rain as they are in the dry. There's some that usually don't perform as strongly in normal dry conditions, but are absolute weapons in the wet. That is where they can really dominate, so we may see a little bit of movement. It's been quite a while since we've had rain in our races. Being quite kind for a while. We usually have at least one wet race. It's going to be very interesting. Jumping on some practice laps with the guys last night in the wet definitely made some interesting fun. With how tight these guys are, trying to do that in the wet is going to be very risky. Going to be really putting their skills to the test. And these cars are a bit of a handful to handle around the track in the wet conditions. They're going to be well and truly exhausted come the end of 22 laps. These three, they are just sticking to each other. There's no movement between them. Gallen lost that position back to Skiddy again, but he's positioned up alongside. Goes to that inside line. This is where Gallen went for the spin before. Plays cautious. Skiddy runs rather wide. There's a turnaround car. I think that's DG. Allowed Skiddy and Gallen to move up. Gallen's recovered back into 6th position. Skiddy now in 7th. And Cliff closing in on Balaki's car. Very late turn in by Mick carries a very wonderful line. To get around these two. There must have been a little bit of a slip between the two. So he's well and truly ahead. He's put 2 seconds over them just all of a sudden. These guys were sticking like glue in those positions for quite a while. A little bit of slip for Wira. Both T-Rex and Demon 4 seconds slower, which is why they're now trailing behind Wira by 2 seconds. Both drivers taking a very different line down through that corner. T-Rex will be pulling away. Cliff didn't get around Balaki. Did drop off a little. DJ's in trouble at the moment with Balaki honing down on him. Our race leader Sami quietly racing to himself out the front. That's 10.3 second lead. It'll be interesting to see if drivers anticipate when the rain may be coming, and if they do head in and swap out for some wets early on, or if they're going to try and last out the first couple of laps as it just starts the rain. look like it's going to rain anytime soon. It's still looking reasonably overcast. Dirty Monkey honing down on Simo Simsel. Dirty's another one of our drivers that does it from the controller as well. Well, I can see some raindrops on the camera now. You can see some rain starting to fall. Seems to have started raining at the back section of the track more so than the front. That is where it starts to pull a lot more. Will Sami head into the pits now for wet tyres, or will he stay out for another lap? We haven't quite reached the halfway point. Sami opts to stay out. The rain has just slightly came on early. Sami now lapping on traffic. I think that's Marky Mark. Really has dropped down into 14th position. We're in DK opting to head into the pits, swapping over to those wet tyres pretty early. Another driver coming in as well. Gallen heading off into the pits to get those tyres. Skitty deciding to join in. There goes Balaki as well. Marky Mark managing to keep pace with Sami, but Sami's probably playing pretty cautious. It might start getting a little bit slippery out there. The rain is definitely falling heavier on that back section. This is going to be a little bit slippery now. It's going to be just a smidgen of a breeze. He's going to be running a fairly large risk if he stays out for another lap. You can see that spray now. Definitely some understeer going on. He's bringing that car in. Ooh, I think Marky Mark's deciding to stay out. I don't know if he'd already pit and... No, he definitely hasn't. He's stayed out on wets. He's going to chance it for another lap, try and cover some ground and catch back up. You can see a little bit of pulling already going on, as I mentioned before, at that entrance to pit lane. It does pull. There's a Demon now in getting those tyres. T-Rex making his way in. We're a DK, both in on wet tyres. See a few puddles starting to form from lap 12. A bit of slip, that's that puddle that need to be cautious. Drivers now have to start looking for a different racing line. They just can't take the usual line. Oh, we've just had another disconnect. Someone's just retired out by the looks of things. Not sure who that was. I can't, for the likes of me, see who it is. I think it may have been Dirty Monkey. I can't see him on the board. He hasn't disconnected. Usually when I bring up the map, it shows if someone's disconnected. He still maintains that race lead, that good lead he had before having to head in. And I think staying out for that one extra lap on the rise before it rains. See a fair bit of water on that back section. Everyone in the crowd getting nicely rained on. Interesting if the game actually made them all pull out umbrellas when it starts to rain. definitely see a lot slower pace. You can see that puddle there. Sami navigates his way through that puddle. So it pulls to the left and the right of the track. You can actually swerve out and around. Probably feel like they're driving down some main streets of most towns and having to swerve around on track like that, trying to avoid all sorts of holes and hazards. Is that DK? I'm sure his car that one is. That's Skiddy. Skiddy's struggling with the car currently. I'm pretty sure he's been in and pit as well. DK starting to close that gap in on Wirra. His last lap is 0.1 of a second different. You see making up here. I think that's Skiddy. He's really struggling with the car at the moment. I'm not sure if he may be on dry tyres. If they didn't have their pit strategy set properly, he could have potentially been in and got the pit stop, but they may have not have actually changed his tyres, or they put on slicks still. He's driving it very cautiously. It's not wanting to turn or stay straight at all. I think he's on slick still. Larky back in pits again. Actually, seeing him actually really change tyres for once. His car is actually hovering above the track. It's like he's taken off and he's still on the jack. Rather interesting to see. There's a fair bit of wet out there currently. There's that back puddles again. Things are going relatively well still. Skiddy's still cautiously getting that car around. I'm not sure if that's Demon Effects. That must be Gallon that's now just coming up to him to have to get around. He's going to have to be cautious. The Gallon doesn't get onto a different line that's going to have more water on the track. You see Skiddy head into the pits now. That's definitely the case was. And Cliff goes to position himself along the inside, but does yield. Car's able to usually cut that corner, but it does actually curve down in towards the inside of the track, and it does fill up with water very quickly, so you can't actually take that real tight line anymore. And there's not much left of that puddle. We did have that gap in between. That is starting to actually pull up now and cover completely. Sami coming up to a few more back markers. There's a fair bit of debris thrown out on the track as well. You did just see a car ahead cut through that corner. That would have brought some more debris back through. Seeing some pretty quick, consistent laps between the drivers. Sami setting 145.7. We're at 144.6. Lap 14 of 22. You can see that puddle there as we go through. Marky Mark behind him. Just been shown the blue flag. He's still struggling with the car. Don't recall seeing if he did go into the pits, but he's definitely driving that thing a lot quicker. He's just probably out there on cold tyres. He's got a lot more pace now. So had a pit crew issue. Jump on board. Bonnet. DK's car as we go down this back straight. So wide. You can see that puddle on that inside line. That's put him in for the spin. Turn in just that a little bit too much. That's where the different lines really change things. You can see the pool of water just that he went through. And then the higher section of that back straight is a lot better than this is where the cars usually can cut a little bit more. You can see that pool. And that was Philly Manilli that just went for the slide in front of DK. He's taken damage as well. He's lost that rear wing. Dirty. Did you have to retire out, mate? Dirty has joined us in for the chat on the stream. He's furthering that lead out. He's now pushed it out to 15.8 seconds, 15.9. It's really pushing out. Bit of traffic coming up. Bad Nate showing the blue flag. I'm not sure if that's Skitty just up ahead as well. Chance to get a little bit risky once they start taking different lines. That's where we saw DK go for the big slide. Going for a different line. And then finding himself in a puddle. Demon Effects also getting around Bad Nate. Allows the guys to move through nice and safely. That's disappointing. Sun's starting to come out. Lap 16, so that's 6 laps. It's going to be interesting whether the drivers do decide to stay out on the wets. So it could very well mean that the last couple of laps may be dry enough to stay on the racing line where the cars have actually dried up the track. For Sami, I don't think it would be worth heading in and pitting. He can probably afford to lose 4 or 5 seconds to his lap times by staying out on wet tyres. Gallen starting to close down on T-Rex. Gallen needing to reclaim as many positions as he can after that spin early on in the race. Gallen could have just taken the championship lead at the end of race 1 tonight. Needs to finish up the top end as close to Sami as he can. There's 5 to go. For our viewers that have got themselves entries in for the stubby cooler, if you've picked Sami, you could be looking at a pretty good opportunity for an entry. You can see just that shine on the track going down where the track's starting to dry already. The rain lasted for about 6 laps. Drivers still have to be cautious. There's still going to be puddles of water on track. As they go to get around other cars and make passes, they could potentially put themselves into a spin as they aquaplane for any puddles. The drivers have come in for slicks at this stage. Oh, that was weird. It's just gone for a spin. Gets out of the road for DK. That's allowed DK to move up into position 3. So a fair bit of water still on that first section of the back straight. Whereas pretty safe. He's got about 15 seconds or so away from... Oh, Bulaki's just misjudged that corner. It's currently in 14th position. Bad Nate's front bar seems to be flapping about just a little bit as well. He's still having a few issues with the car. You can see where that pool of water did actually meet up as the rain got to its heaviest. It's actually dried up now. You can see on the racing line it is relatively dry. 14 cars out there drying the track. As they hold those lines. Car not wanting to pull up skis, struggling with that car currently. You can see that puddle of water just in on that curb. So normally the drivers can get right in over that curb. Ooh, a little bit slippery still for Sami, but he's got 20 seconds up his sleeve. He can still recover it, but that grass is going to be very boggy. He only loses about 6 or 7 seconds. It's okay when there's 3 laps to go. So we did see Demon Effects and DK actually still cutting up on that curb. They actually turned in a little bit earlier and then missed the puddle in the guttering and actually straddled the car over the puddle. It was actually quite interesting seeing them take that line. They definitely can't turn in and drop that tyre down into that gutter. Definitely will turn that car into a spin. Track looking much drier now. It's quite wide in the middle of the track. Bottom of the corner there where all the rain has ran off. It's dried up quite nicely. Lap times have dropped about a second. Much point currently to get in and swap out to some slick tyres. It would be beneficial and save about 5 seconds on the lap, but at the expense of a lengthy pit stop at this point in the race, and with how close the drivers are, definitely not worth it. Gallen side by side with T-Rex. He moves up into position 5. T-Rex a little bit offline in the wet there. Gallen's still copping a fair bit of spray. Yes, Sami has spun again, struggling with that car. Probably a fair bit of fatigue being set in. That leads drop down to 6.8 seconds. He did have a 20-second lead. Lost 10 seconds on the lap before. That's 8 seconds he lost on that lap. The Demon's putting down some very quick times. One of the fastest cars out there currently setting a 1:42.874. We're also in with a 1:42.894. T-Rex sitting at 1:42.845. But Philly at 1:42.152. Very quick time for wets. Gallen lost that position back to T-Rex. Position 5 would be much more favourable for him. Short bit of biking. Do we remember Venomous Raven? Yeah, I do. Pretty sure still on my list of friends for racing. Is that you, Raven? Gallen's lead has dropped down to 5 seconds now. Another mistake. Definitely see Demon getting around him. Sami is wearing a 1 second time penalty. Ah, that's what you've been doing it. Going to the F1. It does look like a pretty neat game. We're on the last lap now. There's a car off to the side there. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Skitty's car? Maybe that's Bad Nate's car. He's lost that back wing. Demon FX is going to have to try and get around as well. He's really struggling with that car. That's all that matters. Raven there getting, as long as you have fun out there. And F1s aren't the easiest of things to be driving as it is. Actually had a go of any of the last titles. This to be a big one for doing it on previous versions of consoles. Yeah, use those assists. Yeah, if you're able to use them, definitely use them. Demon got held up just a little bit from some backmarking traffic. That's been pretty lucky for Sami because he's now pushed that lead back out to 12 seconds. Oh, Balaki's just gone for a spin behind him. Looks like it didn't happen beforehand. As contact could have been made with Sami on the final sector of the final lap. Sami's got that 1 second time penalty. It's not going to be any dramas. He's got 12 seconds over Demon FX. Congratulations, Sami, taking the win. We'll be talking to Sami in the chat at the end of the race. So stick around if you've got any questions for our drivers. Be sure to throw it in the chat and I will relay it. Demon FX crosses the line in position 2. Demon FX on the podium, as well as DK Rush taking 3rd position. We're still having a great drive, position 4. He did get the lead on lap 1. That spin saw him drop back. He's recovered back into 4th position. And then Gallen also involved in that spin and taking a big hit and actually taking contact with Demon FX. So Demon FX took 2nd position. Gallen then also recovering back into 5th. It's all drivers involved in that actually recovering very well. T-Rex bringing it up into position 6. And Cliff crosses the line in position 7. Well done. BG bringing up in position 8. Now we have the conclusion of round 3 at Le Mans Bugatti circuit. We have Sami taking victory at the top of the podium. And also on the podium is Demon FX in position 2, DK Rush in position 3. And the rest of the field we have Wira, Gallen, T-Rex, McCliff, DG, Simo Simsel, Marky Mark, Philly Manilling, Skitty, Balaki, Bad Nate, Dirty Monkey having to retire, and it was also Bad Nate retiring at that back end, and Kakadu did disconnect early on. So we'll be inviting in our podium finishers for a post-race interview. So we'll be talking to Sami, Demon and DK Rush. Just a moment. They've had their invite sent out. Yes, Viking King, that's it. Because of lockdown, there's plenty of time to be able to race. That is the benefit to all that as well. Well, us gaming community people have probably fared the best out of all the lockdown issues. And here we have our podium finishes. We have Sami, Demon and DK. Congratulations on the win, Sami.
Thanks, mate. It was pretty tough.
It was a pretty good drive and a few spins, losing a fair bit of time on those last few laps as well.
Yeah, I noticed when the rain stopped, the water just sat there. And it just caught me a couple of times, so just pulled up. So
yeah, it did take a while for some of those more flooding areas to actually clear off, but it looked like there was a fair few good spots on the first sectors coming down the hills where it seemed to have really cleared up.
yeah, it was quite. You could really sort of start to get into it, but yeah, just on that back section, just all those pools of water just played havoc. So
yeah, you weren't the only one to be caught off guard there. And congratulations, Demon P2.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry I'm late. I had a bit of champagne in my eye from the podium. Army squirted me.
yeah, congratulations,
pretty good result, Demon, especially since making that T-bone with Gallon on lap 1 after
I had nowhere to go.
Spin. Yeah, you just had. It was actually quite lucky for Wiro that Gallon ended up being the shield for that. So yeah, to be able to come back after taking that hit and still get P2, well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was sort of slowly going well in the wet, but towards the end I made a bit of a spin on the last lap. So.
Yeah, we did see that gap starting to close in between you and Sami, with Sami's couple of slips in the wet, and then your slip then pushed that back out. So it was a bit of cat and mouse with those gap times over those last few laps.
That back straight puddle, you just couldn't accelerate through that. You just had to lift, roll through, then get back on again.
Yeah. And well done, DK. P3.
Yeah, thanks, JT. It was a tough race.
Yeah, it would be quite exhausting battling those cars around in the wet, especially as the rain did come on that little bit earlier and lasted a good while as well.
Yeah, there was a puddle that formed on the inside of the turn leading onto the back straight. And yeah, that one caught me out. It just sucked me around and I hit the wall head on and got a bit of damage, but managed to crawl back, so it was good.
Yeah, still a great finish. So it's at least it'll be dry conditions next week with the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seeker.
Should be good.
These cars are going to be in real good form for this, but hopefully we'll get the CEs for tomorrow for our special event.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely look forward to it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
well done, guys.
Thanks to Wira and Philly and DK and a couple of the boys too for helping me this week. I sort of struggled with the car and the track, so.
Yeah, from how you were talking yesterday about how you're having the feel for the track and the car to come through with those real quick times and the victories, especially in the wet. Well done.
Yeah, and thanks to Pagnian too. Pagnian and Next Level. Sponsors.
Yep. Yeah, thank you very much to our sponsors. So you're definitely on track to probably be in the lead for the championship, because you and Gallon were tied. So Billy was only just in the lead, not having such a strong result. Probably be pretty tight between you and Gallon at the moment coming into round 4.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah, congrats
all
on
the way to the end.
Yep, congrats everyone.
It was a great drive. Yeah,
thanks, JT.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks, JT.
See you.
Right. See you, JT. See ya.
And there we have Sami, Demon Effects and DK Rush. And that concludes round 3 for the Pagnian Imports RS01 trophy. Next week's race, same time again, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time on Thursday night. We'll be back for round 4, and it's the same sessions again, so it's a 2-race format with the sprint race and the feature race, and we are at the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. It's going to be some fantastic racing with these cars, so do hit that follow button if you haven't done so, and be sure to check out our No Rules race tomorrow night. We'll be there for 7:30 p.m. as well. That's going to be 3 races over the course of the night. There's going to be random grid starts, and there is all rules and penalties removed. So they can cut track, they can hit, punt, do whatever they want. So there's going to be a lot of cheating, a lot of dirty racing, and the guys are going to have a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to being able to commentate on a lot of carnage in the 69 Camaros that they will be causing. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us, and hope to see you trackside again.